Inventor sketch tip number 1. You have an existing sketch and you would like to draw a line between or tangent to the two circles. I'll do it the longer method first and show you a shorter idea. I'll pick the line tool. I'll select the circle to add a coincident constraint any place except the quadrant on both circles. Then pick the tangent constraint and add 2 tangents. Now to do it a much faster method, if you hold down your left button, again not touching a quadrant, you can then float the tangent along the circle. I'm still holding my left button as I find the other tangent. Release my left button and I have an automatic tangent constraint added at both ends. Inventor sketch tip number 2. You have a part and you would like to lay out a hole in relation to the corners. So in sketch number 3, you'll see that the part was in the original location or orientation when we laid out the corner cuts. Now the circle is laid out according to one of the corners. So we'd like to rotate the part coordinate system. How is this done? Let's make our sketch first. It is in the original orientation. Go to my constraint drop down, pick edit coordinate system, click on the blue ball, put it in the corner where you'd like to work off of, pick on the bar representing the axis you want to align. If it's going the wrong direction, right click and flip axis, then right click and say OK. Notice the coordinate system has been rotated, the x-axis being along the edge. Hit your look at tool to square it up for sketching. I'll just lay out a quick circle to show my point. Dimensioning to the corners very easy and to the side. The nice thing about this is that when you go to the next feature, it returns to the original orientation. But if you need to go back to the sketch where you did rotate the axis, it remembers it. Inventor sketch tip number 3. In this sketch, there are 2 points that are not joined together. The end point of this line is not coincident with the end point of this line, which it should be. The center of the circle is not coincident with the intersection of these 2 construction lines. You could use the coincidence constraint to join these, but of all the constraints available to you, there is one you can drag with your left button. If I pick on the center of the circle, left click drag, it will automatically add a coincident constraint when I hit the point of the intersection. Same thing with the endpoint of the line. So it makes quick constraining with the coincident constraint. Now, while we're here, I want to talk about how to break that constraint. Coincident constraints are relatively hard to do. So if you pick on your tool to show constraints, then you have to pick on a little ball to get it to light up so you can get rid of it. That's relatively hard. An easier way is to simply, on that end of the line you want to break the constraint, is highlight it, right click, and say delete coincident constraint. It's automatically deleted, as you can see. If you want the other one, you of course go over halfway this way on the line. Inventor sketch tip number 4. If in your application options under sketch you have point alignment on, you have this advantage. While editing a sketch and you want to put a circle, you can have it line up with lines in whatever orientation they are. You do have the ability, though, to make this a little bit more reactive to you, what you want, by going to Constraint Inference Scope. You can have it do to all geometry or select geometry. I'll do all geometry first. I'll do the same circle. As you can see, it gives me a line lined up with any of the alignments I want. I can also do it by selected geometry. Let's just say I pick this angle line. Notice the color change. That means that this is the only entity that will project either up or down. None of the others will do this. One of the advantages of using all is that you can find intersection points. For example, the intersection of this one and that line. Inventor sketch step number 5. When drawing a line, you have the ability, if you would like, to join tangent curve lines afterwards, or tangent arcs. When you get to the end of a line you pick, you'll see a gray dot. When you go left click and hold, you can drag out in the quadrant you want to produce the arc. If you make a mistake, go back over the gray dot and go in another quadrant. You stop at any angle you desire. You will get alignment points for certain angles and certain alignment points, such as 180 or 90. I'm going to go 180, let go of my mouse, and now I'm drawing straight with a tangent constraint added on both ends. Inventor sketch step number 6. Sometimes when you go to extrude a figure, you'll find it will not extrude as a solid. This is trying to do as a surface. If I change the solid, I cannot extrude. As you can see, I cannot pick the profile. The reason being that there's a break in the geometry or the sketch between points or some other factor. This occurs a lot of time when you import sketches from AutoCAD because somebody did not use O-snaps. So go into the sketch and edit it. You could go through the long process of using the sketch doctor, but I'm going to use a command that I know I need because I have a broken profile. So I click on a line or select it, hover, then I right click on it and come down to close loop. This is one of the sketch doctor routines. It prompts me to select lines until I find the problem. I say OK and I start selecting. It pops up and says there's a problem at this point. It has multiple sketch points, probably because there are two sketch points not connecting with a coincident constraint. I'm going to say yes, then it's going to tell me the loop was successfully closed. Say OK. Now modeling it is no issue. Inventor sketch tip number 7. In this figure, I have turned on all the sketches to show you that each extrusion came from a different sketch. After you design something in this manner or any other sketch, you'll find that maybe decide you put the sketch on the wrong plane. All these sketches on the XY plane. But let's say the hexagonal sketch was supposed to be on the XZ plane. No reason to erase it and start over, just redefine the sketch. So I find the hexagon extrusion, which was number 2, expand it, find the sketch, right click on it, and say redefine. You then pick up and put yourself on the plane you want to put it on, in fact XZ, and it will flip automatically. Now, one thing you want to do after you do this is to check the sketch and be sure it is fully constrained. It is, so we have no problem. If it were not, you need to constrain it. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It's up to the sketch. Let's go ahead and do the circle coming out the YZ plane, the circle extrusion. So find the circle extrusion, which was the last one. Right click on the sketch, redefine, pick on the YZ plane, and voila, it moves. Again, it's always good to check your sketch for being fully constrained. This one is no problem. This can save you a lot of time if you find that you sketched on the wrong surface or plane. Inventor sketch tip number 8. The Inventor Select Other tool is a lifesaver for many applications, including sketching. For example, if I hover over this area, my Select Other tool will appear and allow me to select the face that is not showing. I can use the drop-down box to pick the face I want, or I can just simply roll my cursor, my mouse wheel, to toggle through them. It's totally up to you. If I hover a more complex place, you'll see it's a lot bigger list. The face, the curves, the different things that are below my cursor within a certain range. Notice it will select the entire extrusion. Let's see this in work. For example, if I pick on this piece and I want to pick the extrusion number 3, I get the whole extrusion. If I were in the fillet command and I want to apply it to the feature, I could have my cursor here and select the extrusion I wanted, and it would find the both ends at the same time. The Select Other tool is unbelievably great for not having to twist your model in and out and around all day long. You can set the time it takes for it to come up in the application options under General, called Select Other in seconds. It comes out of the box at 2 seconds, which I think is too long. I would not go below 3/4 of a second. I run at 1 second normally. Inventor sketch tip number 9 and 10. The feature, the cylinder extrusion, I would like to put the identical extrusion on this face. So I can actually copy the sketch and the feature at the same time. So if I pick that feature and say copy, I then pick this face and say paste, it will bring the sketch and the feature along with it. The face may not be what you want. You could also pick on a plane. If I pick on the XZ plane, I can move it to the center. Now the bottom one is very important. You can have dependent features or independent. With dependent, it's picking up that 3-inch diameter from the other cylinder. If I make it independent, you can change it to any diameter you want and not affect the original. I'm going to make it dependent. When I finish, I then go into the sketch of the new feature, edit it. You need to do this because you see it's not fully constrained. This introduces the sketch tip number 10, and that is slice graphics, which is down the bottom, or F7 on your keyboard. What this does, it takes you to the plane that you're sketching on. In this case, it's the XZ, excuse me. So you're actually looking right inside the part. I can drag that constraint, that center point off, and then project the center point into my sketch. Then using my earlier sketch tip, drag it back and fully constrain it in position. That quick. Finish my sketch and everything is done. Now this one was dependent, so I go back to extrusion number 3 and modify the sketch. If I change the 30, it was in millimeters, I apologize, it was in inches, and change that to 25, say finish sketch, you'll see they both resize. Why? Because if you look at the sketch of the number 4, you'll see it's a functional sketch. If you wanted to change this after the fact, just simply edit it and don't use a variable, just type in what you want, and then they can be different.